Hello there in YouTube land. Tonight is a TV review of third season, episode 1 of The Following. The show The Following, not The Following as in the name, The Following is going to come up. And I have to say, the last 2 seasons of The Following I've watched with great consideration and anticipation. However, it disappointed me. They brought in a new showrunner, which always worries me when it comes to a show like this. Now, this is only the first episode, but basically, it underwhelmed. Where the first season of The Following's opener and second season's opener intrigued me right from the get-go, this one left me not so much wanting more as wondering why. See, for the last 2 seasons of The Following, we've been following the character of of Joe Carroll, and also, of course, the good guys. But Joe Carroll tended to be the more interesting, the bad guy, and I kind of think that what we're kind of see here is that it may break it down into not as completely serialized as was before, maybe even breaking it into 2 or 3 serialized stories within the show of this season, and that concerns me. Right now we don't have a lead character, so to say. We have Ryan Hardy, and that's the detective, and that's Kevin Bacon's character. It brings me to the whole concept of I think one of the reasons that we're not seeing Joe yet in this season, and hopefully we will see Joe Carroll and see him doing evil things, is that they're trying to not make it so unrealistic. To say basically that the writers got around the table and thought, you know, we bring back Joe Carroll again for a 3rd season, and we do the same thing. People are going to think it's not so realistic, that there's going to be a disconnect. But the character of Joe's what we're following. And when it comes to entertainment, TV, film, there's been an alarming trend to go for what people tend to like to call realism. And it comes in the most unusual places. When Christopher Nolan made the Batman series of films, the trilogy he did, which did extremely well, though in my opinion they were uneven, though many people consider them to be masterpieces. And I can completely see why with some of what he's done. However, I do think it is completely ludicrous that somebody sat down and thought, okay, he dresses up like a bat, he chases after a psychotic clown. How do we make that realistic? You don't. It's not realistic. Even it just becomes more ludicrous when you try to add a realistic slant to it, because you've taken something that's already in its own realm of universe, its own kind of rules, and you try to place rules and conceptualization from reality into a fantastical world. Now, that being said, that did work pretty well for The Dark Knight, because it had Christopher Nolan behind it. And Christopher Nolan, you know, although I do think he's slightly overrated, is still a genius of a director, and he knows his stuff. And he's one of the few directors that I can say I like to sit down and talk to. Someone that likes film noir like I do. And as iffy as I am on some of the Batman concepts of his films, I think his style and his work is absolutely brilliant. Even the stuff that I don't totally agree with. That wasn't my Batman. The Tim Burton thing was kind of what my Batman was. It was more comic booky Batman. And that was my era. This was a different era of Batman. And how did this get into the following? Because that's why I feel they're going with this. They're trying to Joe Carroll it, to make it more relatable, to bring it more into procedure, to make it more realistic, to make it more, dare I say it, human. The following's a TV series. They should follow the lead of shows like Hannibal and realize that the character is a ludicrous concept, but he works within his own universe. Hannibal does that. Hannibal is not a realistic show. Hannibal doesn't have to be a realistic show. Hannibal is a very stylized show. It works very well with what it does in the constructs of its own unique universe and environment. Hannibal borrows from other mediums. It borrows from other masters, and it does so pretty well. Again, that was a show that didn't start out as one of my favorites, but I grew to like it a lot. And as much as I was like dissing on Hannibal in the day, I was kind of like guiding to the following. I was a follower of Joe Carroll's. I was right along there with him when he was going through the trials and tribulations of escaping, getting his cult, getting his other cult, and the fantastic female lead in the second season. I'm hoping that we're going to come back to Joe, and we're going to come back to what the show could be, and what it most possibly, hopefully, will be. And forget uber realism. Forget trying to make us part of the universe, and instead look at bringing about a universe that we want to be a part of. There's soon going to come a new Spider-Man trilogy. There's going to be another Batman trilogy before we know it. Nolan did the best he could with the concepts that he used. See, people think Nolan and they think realism and they think this uber realistic slant, but that's kind of not totally what Nolan wanted. Nolan did Batman not because Nolan was a huge Batman fan. Nolan did Batman because he saw the concept that he could use with that world with one of his great loves, film noir. That's why you get the opening in The Dark Knight from The Killers. That's why you see so many different concepts from so many different film noir films. It wasn't about making a more realistic universe, as in real world with us, something that we can relate to. It was making a more fun, stylized universe, as in something that somewhere we want to go. And that's how he succeeds. That's like James Cameron. James Cameron makes movies that people go to because, maybe not me for all of them, but he brings people into worlds that aren't realistic. And I'm including Titanic in this one here. But they're worlds that people want to see. And it is exactly for that same reason that movies like 50 Shades of Grey, that although is doing well, doesn't succeed as well because it doesn't bring out that world. It doesn't. The characters are flat. You have one of the great actors from a show like The Fall, and he plays Christian Grey in this. We have Dakota Johnson, and she plays a caricature of a person. Not even a real person, just kind of a caricature. So, what does that mean? What's that whole twisted, twirly thing? How does that all relate to him? Come back to to the following. don't know yet, but I'm gonna follow it for a few more episodes to find out. This has been a uniquely different review. Say hello to the giant lobster head. For me right now, it's time for sleep. And one last cup of tea before I sleep. Howling 2 reference. Everything comes together in a unique way. Even this oddly strange review. Why structure it and do it this way? To hopefully intrigue you enough to bring you into my universe of the Wrangling Bit review. One that goes down different alleyways and paths and trails and falls off and comes back on to say in the end what I want to say. It was disappointing, but I'm not ready to give up yet. I just need them to bring me a world that I don't want to relate to, but one where I don't mind going for an hour every week. We've got 3 or 4 more weeks to do that before I trail off into another show. Thanks for watching. For me right now, it's time for tea. And for you, it's time to find the funkiest sunglasses you can. And give the show a shot. First episode, not the greatest. Maybe wait till there's 2 or 3 PBR, then put them together. See what you think. Come back to me. Thanks for watching, and be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff.